Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Ben Crossman, and everyone out there. Hope you had a great weekend and you got out, did something fun, and everything is going wonderful. Is going really, really well for you. And hey, you're ready for some Computer America. So today on the program, we have a full segment of computer and technology news where we are going to go over the top stories of the day, try to keep you up to date, catch you up what happened over the weekend, and just really dig into the news. But in the meantime, everyone, let's go ahead and just mention real quick, computeramerica.com. That's where you'll find everything, including reviews, articles, tips, tricks, past show notes, future show notes, the live video feed, and more. And of course, the podcast. Everyone, go out and check out computeramerica.com. That's where you'll find anything about today's show right there. Also, while you're there, be sure to check out social media links, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. And okay, I think that's about it. And everyone, once again, I hope that you're doing well. Don't worry if you haven't caught up on Game of Thrones yet. No spoilers, because hey, we haven't either. So it's this is a safe place for you to be. Now, why don't we go ahead and get started with computer technology news? We have a lot of different stories, a lot of fun stories, and yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So here we go, computer and technology news. Okay, everyone. So let's, and like I said, a lot of different ways that we could start today's program. But let's go ahead and do this one. So this is a fun story, not to be taken too seriously. If you have a baby, congratulations, you procreated. That is the goal. Good job. Way to go. But did you know, and we'll learn this in the article, that people share about 1,500 photos of their babies between the day that they're born and age 5 on social media. 1,500 photos. That's almost a photo a day. Yeah, you guys really like your babies. But the problem is, not everyone else is as excited about your baby as you are. Well, enter a company that's by day, their trade is to sell you protection, condoms. Well, they have launched an app. Yes, what better company to launch an app such as this? But check this one out. This is none other than a condom company launches baby blocker to wipe cute pictures from your social media feeds. This is coming to us from Metro and Jasper Hamill, saying that a condom firm launched a baby blocker to stop seeing cute pictures of newborns and toddlers on your social media feed. That's right. It's a Chrome plugin. We went over those. Will automatically sense images posted to Facebook that contain babies and replace their adorable visages with a different image. There you go. So in a press release, and the company, by the way, is called Skyn, Skyn, said that the high-profile recent birth could lead to an explosion in the number of baby pictures posted to social media. And I'm sure, obviously, this is the UK, metro.co.uk, so they're talking about the royal baby. Well, I guess everyone might get might get the idea that, hey, if everyone is just so eager to see pictures of the royal baby, maybe they are so excited to see pictures of our not so royal baby. Could be, but and there we go. So everyone shares the joy of arrival of a famous baby and relish seeing images across social media channels. And they said numerous baby photos are being shared every hour on Facebook, and this is bound to increase over the coming weeks. Well, they've launched a simple, free-to-download Google Chrome extension, allowing people to opt out of the predictable frenzy of baby photos following a much-awaited birth. The baby blocker, if you're looking for the name of the name of the plugin, so the baby blocker gives Facebook users the option of blocking baby photos in their feed, saying that we want people to enjoy sharing photos of their cute bundles of joy, celebrities or otherwise. And as we said earlier, on average, parents share about 1,500 pictures of their babies from the moment that they arrive to the age, well, at least till they're age 5. Which for some people might be a little bit too much. And I would kind of argue that, again, I'm happy that you have a baby, but not everyone is as invested as you. It's as if we just took our family albums where, people are like, we don't know anyone in this photo. It's as if we took our family photo album and put it online for everyone to see. So they said that the baby blocker was created for them, a simple and fun way to swap baby photos in their feed with images of something you may like, saying that Facebook automatically detects the composition of each image uploaded by its users and produces simple descriptions for the image identifying elements, such as maybe 3 people smiling, or baby, dog, cat. Facebook does that to, of course, filter any kind of content that they wouldn't want on Facebook. Well, the Baby Blocker Chrome extension searches these descriptions as well as other post content to determine if the post contains babies. If a baby is detected, the HTML of the Facebook page is altered to block the post with a different image. And I'm sure that you can go into the settings and decide if you want to see pictures of animals, if you want to see pictures of nature and things like that. But hey, I thought that was a fun story to use technology for something that finally matters, blocking pictures of other people's babies from the internet. We have come a long way as a society. So there you go. That was story number 1. And I know what you're thinking. But Ben, how do you go up from here? Check this out. How about some more good news? Hey, we're starting off light, and we're going to go ahead and continue on with some good news. So for those of you who maybe you're on like the techie side, or maybe you care but you really don't care, this is going to be great for everyone. Because for the longest time here on the show, and trust me, ever since before I became a serious part of the show, SSDs were prohibitive. Like, you would just purchase a kind of a medium to low end, or not low end, but a medium to low storage volume SSD. You would still have a backup traditional hard drive that would handle all of your massive storage, be that videos, photos, anything like that. Like here for the program, all of our past shows are backed up to an external hard drive. It's like a 4 terabyte, something like that. And yeah, we're still happily backing up and storing all of the Computer America shows on there. But that's the thing, we have to have one because the volume of storage is super. Well, hey, that's something that SSDs really couldn't compete with until maybe now. Check this out. An all-time low this year. And of course, this has to do with economics, competition, price wars, and things like that. So this is definitely a good thing. Check this out. So if you're watching the video portion, you can see the article right there, or at least you can see the graph right there. And we're going to demystify this, but safe to say, the average contract price for a 512 gig or a 1 terabyte SSD have plunged to below 10 cents per gigabyte by the end of this year. That's right. I'm sorry, these are projections, by the way, just to be clear. But they are set to plunge below 10 cents per gigabyte, hitting an all-time low. This change will cause 512 gigabyte SSDs to replace their 128 gigabyte counterparts and become market mainstream, second only to 256 gigabyte SSDs. We may also look forward to PCIe SSDs achieving 50% market penetration, since PCIe SSDs and SATA SSDs are nearly identical in price. Perfect. Just what we want. Hard drives that are fast, efficient, and of course have great storage on top of performance out the wazoo compared to, again, traditional hard drives. Is that the SSD adoption among notebooks has already come above the 50% threshold in 2018. Contract prices for all these SSDs have fallen a long way by over 50% since the peak in 2017. If you didn't know that. Well, and yeah, hey, that's obviously what this article is, trying to really highlight, is that, obviously it's a line graph, and you can see it kind of hits its peak there in quarter 1, 2, 3, 4 of 2017, and then now we are $30 lower than we were back then, which is great. So the reason for the continuous price fall in of course Q2, weakening stocking momentum due to the cautious stance of PC, smartphone, and server data centers and OEMs towards end market sales and high inventory levels, leading to an overly surplus NAND flash market. Price wars by leading SSD suppliers who are keen to get their 64, 72 layer stock off their hands, and the price comparison effect as a result of Intel 3D QLC SSDs. Essentially, too much stock, lots of people have them, and hey, people are worried that people just really won't be in the market for a hard drive. But I will say that if you are in the market, or maybe if you're just thinking, no, I'm happy with my current hard drive setup, looking at these prices, I'm not saying that they're impulse buys. But if you have an extra $100 to spend and you're thinking, how do I get a couple more months? How do we get a couple more years out of my old PC? Consider upgrading to an SSD. The prices have never been better. And hey, maybe wait until this holiday season. That seems to be where they're really expecting the sales to pick up, but at the same time, the surplus is still going to be there, and they're really going to be motivated to sell. So hey, pick up an SSD if you haven't been paying attention. Or on top of that, if you don't have one, I highly recommend that everyone out there look into an external SSD so that you can back up your computer, or just otherwise have a media playing device that you can hook up to your router. There are so many uses for a random hard drive that we highly encourage you to just kind of pick one up and have it safe, secure, maybe for backups, maybe for media share, something like that. Yeah, hey, this is going to be in the next, prices are already low, but they're going to get even lower and lower and lower. So this is a good time to be in the market. And that's compared to, and I really haven't checked the price to the gigabit of traditional hard drives, but last I heard they were somewhere around like the 4 cents or 6 cents, and the fact that SSDs are around the 10 cents compared to that. So yes, they're like half as expensive, but trust me, the performance increase is way more than double. So the only reason you would have a traditional hard drive is if you have massive amounts of data to store. And trust me, unless you collect movies like no one's business, unless you have a music library that is not even thousands of songs deep, but tens of thousands of songs deep, there's no reason not to get an SSD if you were wondering, which one do we go with. So definitely check that out. And again, good news. Hey, as people who are who will be shopping for these and looking into these, it's never been a better time to be in the market for one. Very, very simple. Now, so that was story number 2. Story number 3. Let's go ahead and get into some news about Amazon. And we have a couple of stories here about Amazon. We'll try to string them together just so that, they, I hate to say it like this, but they ship more easily. So with Amazon, unfortunately, this is not good if you're an Amazon employee. Check this out. So this one coming to us from Reuters, and they're saying that exclusive to Reuters, of course, Amazon rolls out machines that pack orders and replace jobs. I don't think anyone is surprised after seeing all of the technology that Amazon has been working on, from security, facial recognition, to robot, to realistic interactions with Alexa and automation in that regard, to stores that don't have a single person manning them. All they do is kind of scan your face and let you walk away with anything and then charge it to your Amazon account. They have been doing so much in the realm of automation and robotics that this shouldn't come to anyone. This shouldn't come to a surprise. The only thing that might surprise you is the timetable. We all think that this is years away. This is something that we should be preparing for in the near future, but it's not here yet. Well, turns out, we're going to start it's going to be a gradual evolution. It's not going to be, just a clear cut before automation, after automation. So this is one of those rolling out procedures. Now, as we said, Amazon Inc. is rolling out machines to automate jobs held by thousands of its workers, boxing up customer orders. And if you didn't know, Amazon had already been using robots to help essentially pick items and put them into bins that would then go to warehouse workers who would then kind of sort the bins that would have most of the things. Sometimes they would have to go and run or order another product that would have to be put into a box for a customer. But by and large, a lot of the picking was done by robotics. And then on top of that, the actual sorting followed by the actual packaging was then done by hand. Looks like even that's going to be at risk. So the company started adding technology to a handful of warehouses in recent years, which scans goods coming down a conveyor belt and envelops them seconds later in boxes custom built for each item. 2 people who work for the project told Reuters Amazon has considered installing 2 machines at dozens more warehouses, removing at least 24 roles at each one. These facilities typically employ more than 2,000 people. So there you go. 2 dozen machines, dozens more warehouses, removing at least 24 roles at each one. So 24 jobs lost times, let's say they install it in, for the sake of my brain and the fact that I'm not very good at math, they say dozens. Let's go ahead and just say 30 facilities. 30 times 240 that's hard. 720 jobs. That is so obviously each facility employs 2,000 people, and this is simply going to be 24 of those 2,000. But in one move, which is 1 or 2 machines, or 2 machines at each location. And by the way, they said 2 machines, not just even one machine. So let's go ahead and double that number. Somewhere around 1,500 jobs could be cut just from 2 machines. That's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just showing that, hey, can we get these things installed? What are going to be the costs associated with maintaining, running these things? What's the upfront? What's the return? And if by all accounts, which it totally should, if by all accounts these things are cheaper than people, hey, 2 machines suddenly becomes 4, 8, 16, and suddenly, hey, you only need half of the workforce to do even more work than, let's say, if you would instead hire more people to handle more inventory. Suddenly you have less people handling more inventory. And this is the future of automation. It's once again, really hard to think, back in the day when, when we had the assembly line and, the Industrial Revolution, that, hey, whenever some factory jobs went away, other newer forms of labor came into the workplace and these people had new jobs. The problem is it's really hard to see a future where, this level of workforce that will be automated away will be able to find a new way to provide for themselves. It's a real risk. So of course, the article continues, and even with my bad math, they said that would amount to more than 1,300 cuts across 55 U.S. fulfillment centers for the standard-sized inventory. Amazon would expect to recover the cost in under 2 years at $1 million per machine plus operational expenses. It only takes 2 years to get their money back and actually start earning money through employing base. And of course, for a company that recently hit the 1 trillion valued mark, again, to be very clear, not the 1 trillion in pocket, not the $1 trillion in walking around money, but the $1 trillion in market value, they can certainly shift assets around and get and kept those machines put into place and put in very, very put in a lot of them. So obviously the plan, previously unreported, shows how Amazon is pushing to reduce labor and boost profits as automation of the most common warehouse task, which is picking an item, is still beyond its reach. The changes are not finalized because vetting technology before a major deployment can take time. And they even have a lovely little graph here that shows the growth of Amazon warehouses in the United States and how you think of Amazon being, it's hard to imagine a time where Amazon wasn't part of our daily lexicon. Well, even if you go as far back as, let's say the 2010. In 2010, they had about 21 warehouses across the United States. And as of 2020, they are expected to open have opened 177 warehouses. That's massive growth. And don't forget that each one of these, as time goes on, they build them bigger and bigger, better and better. And so a warehouse from 2005 would not even compete to a singular warehouse in 2020. So, yeah, very, very important. So Amazon is famous for its drive to automate many parts of its business as possible. The company is in a precarious position as it considers replacing jobs that have won it subsidies and public goodwill. Saying, quote, "We are piloting this new technology with the goal of increasing safety, speeding up delivery times, and adding efficiency across our network." And that is what an Amazon spokeswoman said in a statement. Quote, "We expect the efficiency savings will be reinvested in new services for customers where new jobs will continue to be created." Again, it's just hard to imagine that you need suddenly for every job that you replace with automation in warehouses, you are going to suddenly create a job in either customer service, or like our next story is going to highlight, Amazon is hoping that people start their own individual delivery businesses, actually quit Amazon and start delivery companies. But it's hard to imagine that you need, 1,300 less workers and suddenly you need 1,300 more customer service reps. The numbers rarely work out that way. So, of course, Amazon last month downplayed its automation efforts to press visiting its Baltimore fulfillment center, saying a fully robotic future was far away. Its employee base has grown to become one of the largest in the United States as the company opened new warehouses and raised wages to attract staff in a tight labor market. Don't forget, Amazon recently raised their minimum wage to $15. Like if you work for Amazon as a contractor, as a warehouse worker, no matter the position you are at Amazon, you are making a minimum of $15 an hour, which is great. That's that's a much better wage than the federal minimum wage. But how much of that is kind of PR and hoping that they can keep the public goodwill while they do this transition to full automation. So the article goes on for a bit, and we're going to only kind of skim the rest of this because it does go on for quite a bit. But check this out. The new machines, known as carton wrap from Italian firm CMC SRL, pack much faster than humans. They crank out about 600 to 700 boxes per hour, or 4 to 5 times the rate of human packers. The machine required one person to load customer orders, another to stock cardboard and glue, and a technician to fix jams on occasion. Though Amazon has announced it's intended to speed up shipping across its Prime loyalty program, this latest round of automation is not focused on speed. It's about efficiency and savings. And that's something that you should really highlight when it comes to a company as large as Amazon that fills as many orders as Amazon does. If they can, and that's why they're also one of the primary ones to to really bring up this issue of package theft, or people walking up and just walking away with Amazon packages. They know that if they can fill orders faster, if the products actually get into people's hands and they actually start to use them, and less waste, less random items laying around, or just everything running smoothly, that's going to save them a whole lot more money than any kind of cutting prices anywhere else. Efficiency, right? Like size, not a problem. Growth, user base, all that good stuff when it comes to the business side of Amazon, those are all on target. Efficiency, if they can get that up, then that's going to put more money in their pockets than anything else that they could do. Now, so with that being said, but the hiring deals that Amazon has with the government are often generous. For the 1,500 jobs Amazon announced last year in Alabama, for instance, the state promised the company $48.7 million over 10 years, its Department of Commerce says. There you go. So obviously that comes after Amazon said that the company will try to repurpose workers. It could not be learned where the roles might disappear first and what incentives, if any, tied to those specific jobs. Man. So yeah, there's a whole lot. There's a whole nother side to it that we're really not going to pick apart. But just know, Amazon is in a really tough position, because it's a question of, do we keep employing people just to employ them and for the goodwill and for the tax cuts that we get and the tax breaks? But those are all great. But at what point does just automation, regardless of what it is that we're actually doing, does automation just make more sense in the long run? And we are fast approaching that question. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up, although I will say that the last sentence in this article, they say that, quote, a lights out warehouse is ultimately the goal, one of the people said. And a lights out warehouse would be a warehouse where no one works. Only automation, only robots. Shipments come in, they get processed, they get shipped out. They get processed, mixed, matched, packaged, and then, of course, shipped out to people without anyone actually doing anything. And I'm sure Amazon knows that should be their end goal, which I kind of agree, If a future like that is possible, and if it's possible within the next 5, 10, 15 years, great. I mean, those 2,000 people that would then be out of a job, or any number of those that would then be repurposed or go somewhere else, I mean, we shouldn't just employ people just to employ people. Technology marches ever forward. It's just more of a question of, can we sustain that? Can we sustain where people are doing less and less work because it's just not needed, and people can continue to have a prosperous and good standard of living? So there you go. Okay, everyone, that's let's go ahead and just say that. So let's continue on to story number 4. And lots of different stories that we can choose from here. Actually, we only have about a minute before the break. Man, I'm sorry that we went so far into Amazon, but hey, let's get a change of pace and go from Amazon to, you guessed it, Amazon. And this does have a relation with our last story. So we'll introduce it, and as soon as we hear the music in the background, we'll go ahead and go to commercial break. But until then, everyone, next story, Amazon to employees, and this is Amazon saying to its employees, quit your job. We'll help you start a delivery business. That's right. So this is what I was kind of alluding to with the last story, saying that some of those people who will be losing a job due to automation, it looks like Amazon has some sort of idea of what they can do after their services are no longer needed with Amazon proper, but hey, they can still help the company in another way. So this one coming to us from Ars Technica, and yeah, in an effort to fulfill orders faster, Amazon will help some employees transition to entrepreneurial life. An expansion of its delivery service partner program, the new initiative, will give Amazon employees funding to start their own business delivering packages for the online retail giant. Which again, this isn't a bad thing. So everyone, when we come back, more computer and technology news. We'll wrap up this article, and everyone, stay tuned. More after this. See you then.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-215-4461. 800-215-4461. 800-215-4461. That's 800-215-4461.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 32 minutes past the hour, and ladies and gentlemen, if you missed any part of our show so far, if you want to go back and listen to it, or just highlight something, or maybe you missed something, maybe I didn't speak too clearly, which is always a possibility. Everyone, go back and check out the podcast, which is just today's show in its entirety. If you haven't heard it on IRN, you can of course hear it wherever podcasts are heard. Simply search Computer America. We should pop right up, and you would be good to go. So everyone, welcome into the program. If you're just joining us, hey, we have a full show of computer and technology news, and we are just getting into this article about Amazon telling its employees that, hey, if you feel like you would like to quit your cushy day job at Amazon, we will help you with startup cost and a way to help you start your own business, which, like I said before the break, is a completely good thing. This is not, I've heard of a lot of companies, and a lot of companies that are much, much bigger than Amazon, that really didn't have to do this. And this is transitioning some of its workforce that they really don't need to rely on anymore, but still have them do something that's good for the business and potentially really good for them. So Amazon employees, and again, the only way to get this money and to actually do this is if you are currently an Amazon employee and take advantage of this. But Amazon employees who take the plunge will receive funding for startup costs up to $10,000, as well as the equivalent of 3 months of the former employee's last gross salary. Not bad. And that's according to an announcement. Amazon developed the new arm of the program to help employees who are interested in the Delivery Service Partner Program but need assistance during the transition process. The program is reportedly open to a variety of Amazon employees, including warehouse workers. However, Whole Foods employees are not eligible to participate in the program. So unfortunately, if you are working with Whole Foods, hang on to that one. Now, if a worker decides to participate, they will leave their current role at Amazon and receive help from the company to start their small business. Participants will get a consistent delivery volume from Amazon, ensuring that there will be packages for them to sustain their business. Participants are also allowed to access Amazon's Deliver technology, which is hands-on training and discounts on helpful products and services, including Amazon's branded delivery trucks. Pretty good. And obviously, startup costs, like, one of the hardest parts of transitioning to running your own business, starting your own business, one of the hardest parts of, doing this are the startup costs, the initial investment. So obviously Amazon created the Delivery Service Partner Program last year and has reportedly resulting in the creation of more than 200 small businesses since its inception. Some employees will likely gravitate to the program if they are already interested in starting their own business, or if they feel stuck with the daily grind of the Amazon warehouse. However, if the program proves popular, it's unclear just how many employees Amazon will let leave their position and participate in the program, because obviously paying people 3 months salary, $10,000 in startup costs. And by the way, I'm sure that that's not a $10,000 check. I'm sure that that's, we will reimburse you for $10,000 in setting up your corporation and, buying any vehicles and any kind of gas and things like that. Yeah, so I'm betting that $10,000 goes a long way, but not to just about anything. So obviously, while Amazon must front some startup costs, the program works towards one of Amazon's new goals, which is, if you didn't know, reduce default Prime shipping times from 2 days to just a singular day. And that's something that I think deserves some attention. Amazon has said that their goal to compete, Amazon 2-day Prime delivery is already the industry standard. Like, if you can't deliver in 2 days, then Amazon suddenly has a leg up on you. But instead of just being happy with setting the new standard, they've decided that for the majority of Amazon Prime members, depending on where you live, location, if you live in a city or somewhere with high traffic, they want to cut that down to just 1 day delivery. How do you do that? And I think Amazon has just about done everything that they can on the order processing side, on getting products from their warehouses to people. It's just from the shipping centers to the people that adds the extra day. So I'm sure that they think the more that we encourage people to start their own businesses, to deliver packages from Amazon, because obviously Amazon will be really the primary package. Packages from Amazon will be the primary parcel that a lot of these companies would, kind of deal with in the first couple of months. If it proves popular enough, they can easily cut that shipping day from 2 to 1. So it's kind of a win-win-win for Amazon. All they have to do is front the money. And heaven knows Amazon certainly has quite a bit of money. Everyone, there you go. So I don't think that's bad. Obviously, with the story before it, automation, that kind of thing, it's going to get hairy out there. Amazon employees do not have a future-proof existence. But this, really, if you're out there, you're listening to this, you're an Amazon employee, and you can figure out some way to drive safely. If you're a good driver and you don't mind working for yourself, self-motivator, things like that, This seems like it's the way to go rather than trying to work up through the ranks of Amazon. Why not go out, start a small business? So there you go. And so there you go. That's story number 4. Everyone, let's go ahead and swap right on over to, and this one's actually pretty interesting. For everyone out there who has an iPhone, Apple iPhone, obviously the iOS store or the Apple App Store, you know that Apple and the App Store go hand in hand. Well, check this one out. This is by David Goldman, and iPhone owners can sue Apple for monopolizing App Store. Supreme Court rules. That's right. The Supreme Court just opened up Apple to a number of lawsuits that they're going to have to deal with. Would not want to be in Apple's shoes right now, but hey, for consumers, this could prove to be a very, very good thing. Now, CNN Business, they said that a group of iPhone owners accusing Apple of violating U.S. antitrust rules because of its App Store monopoly can sue the company. Now, obviously, that does not mean that Apple will lose this. That does not mean that anything has to change immediately. But what it does mean is that Apple will have to defend itself in court. Justice Brett Kavanaugh, in the majority opinion, said that the retailers engage in unlawful, anti-competitive conduct that harms consumers. That is why we have antitrust laws, and the court's 4 liberal justices joined Kavanaugh in the 5-4 decision. There you go. So, liberal and Kavanaugh, 5-4, there you go. The Supreme Court opinion notably does not accuse Apple of violating antitrust law. It holds that consumers have the right to sue the company for monopolistic behavior because they purchase apps directly from Apple. There you go. And certainly, when you think about this, there is an argument to be made. It's just, is that argument good enough for a monopoly? Just because you buy an iPhone, what does that mean you have to use the iOS store? That's a question that, unfortunately, a lot of people may not have asked. Why is it that I pay and completely pay for my phone, and then to jailbreak your phone or to want to install any kind of third-party app that I would want to, no, Apple shuts that down completely. Some people like that. Some people really enjoy that about Apple. I'm sure that their arguments will include security, will include, any number of reasons as to why Apple sees this as a positive. But as a consumer, there are a lot of negatives that get rolled into it. Now, they have a quote here again saying, quote, "It definitely should make tech companies wonder how the antitrust laws will be applied going forward in an online platform environment." Saying that the case stems from a 2011, yeah, you heard that right, almost 8 years in the courts. Man, the gears of justice turn slowly. 2011 class action suit by iPhone owners alleging that by taking a 30% cut of app sales, Apple has encouraged app developers to raise their prices in response. Consumers have been harmed by the practice, the suit claimed, because Apple does not allow customers to download apps from any other source other than the iTunes App Store. Unlike Android, iOS customers can only get apps from the official source, which Apple says serves as a kind of quality control to weed out security threats and apps that violate the company's terms of service. Like I said before, Apple uses its iTunes policy, its Apple App Store iTunes policy, as a security blanket, saying, hey, as long as you stay in our little garden wall with our huge fences and everything like that, you're going to be safe. It's a good thing to be in here. You're better off for it. If you don't like it, go with Android, buy something else. Don't buy iPhone because we won't give you the choice. Yeah, and that's what they're saying, is that the fact that you can only compete in the Apple iTunes store, the fact that if you want to develop for the iPhone environment, for the iOS environment, you have to take into account that 30%, that 30% hit that you're going to take. And as a consumer, invariably, you will be paying that 30% price increase. Now, Apple argued that iPhone owners do not have the right to sue because Apple is an intermediary, but the Supreme Court held that iPhone owners have a direct purchaser relationship with Apple and may sue under a precedent known as Illinois BRIC. Had Apple been allowed to set the terms of the legal fight, the court said, it would have hindered the ability to consumers to seek relief from alleged monopolists. Who knew? Apple's line drawing does not make a lot of sense other than as a way to gerrymander Apple out of this and similar lawsuits. That's what the official Supreme Court opinion said. Antitrust experts also welcome the court's reasoning that allowing Apple to avoid class action suit would, quote, provide a roadmap for others to evade the law. As a non-legal expert, I am not a lawyer, but as a non-legal expert, it just doesn't make a lot of sense that any company would be above a lawsuit like this. And especially one as large and as powerful as Apple or any other tech company that, kind of runs our world nowadays. The fact that they could, control the ecosystem so entirely, the Apple iPhone ecosystem so entirely, and then at the same time throw up their hands and go, well, you're not really dealing with us. You're buying from the app developers. You're buying from, whatever app you are currently trading with. Apple is just the platform. We're an intermediary. You don't really deal with Apple. It's kind of bogus. Apple can't control everything and then at the same time turn around and say, oh, we don't have any hand in this. Not how that works. So obviously, they have one last quote here. It's important that we get rid of these silly technocratic barriers to seeking relief under the antitrust laws, and that is from the director of the enforcement strategy at Open Markets, a think tank that has criticized the tech industry as being too powerful and concentrated. I should totally get that person on because I would love to have a conversation with them. I expect Apple will contest this heavily and fight this case for several years to come because it's a lot of revenue at stake. The Supreme Court did not rule that the customer's likelihood of success, which is what I mentioned before. Obviously, they did not fault Apple. They did not say Apple has a monopoly. They did not say that Apple violated antitrust laws. This was not a ruling on that. It simply said that people can take a class action lawsuit to Apple's front door. Now it's up to the courts and up to the lower courts to decide the merits of the case. Again, as someone who's just a consumer and who has been in the Apple ecosystem for a long time, much like another particular company that we have talked about, especially on Gamer Tuesday last week, Steam, where they take a 70-30 split. And when they are really the only game in town to get your video game into people's hands, into consumers' hands, that 70-30 split, you really don't have any control over it. And then other people come on the market with much, much more fair. I think that Epic Game Store has like a 78, or I should say an 88-12 or 90-10 or something like that split. Yeah, I think that Apple needs a lot of the same treatment, where right now they're getting record profits. Their stock has been going up really, really nicely. Investors should be really happy the fact that that Apple is earning money hand over fist for doing nothing, and at the same time being able to bat down any competitors to the Apple iOS store. There should be a way. There should be a way to have competing app marketplaces in the iOS store that you could, download from other than Apple. If Apple wants to be that shining beacon of, anything you get from us is going to be perfect, great, there's going to be no scams or anything like that, perfect. Let them be that. But the fact that they get to block off completely anyone else who wants to try to come and compete in the same market, seems a little, seems very contrary to antitrust. And again, it is good for security. It is good for keeping things nice and safe and everyone's data protected and things like that. But is it fair? And that's what we're going to decide. So, hey, years in the making. So this has been going on since 2011, just to get this point. So these people have been working since 2011 just to get the court to say, yeah, you can go ahead with it. 8 years later, we finally got the go ahead. Now it's probably going to be, in all honesty, another 5 to 10 years to see what the actual shakeup is. And it could be none. And hey, between then and now, Apple could become less restrictive. They could allow other marketplaces. They could, open up the App Store in more ways. Apple can do a lot to remedy this whole situation before anything actually comes from this class action. So there you go. Everyone, hey, that's story number 5. That one just caught me so out of left field. It seemed you take these kind of known entities in the tech industry, and the Apple iOS store, for instance, or the Apple App Store. If you buy Apple, you're going to use the App Store. You just really never take the time to sit back and think, well, hey, is this fair? Like, it's been going on for so long, and we've become so accustomed to it as consumers, we never really sit back and say, hey, is this right? And I'm glad that someone out there, that there are people who are really taking a nice, long, hard look at that. Now, there's that one, and I think I had one more that I really wanted to do that were kind of along the same lines, although I don't think I have it anymore. I don't. Okay. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and we should have enough time for like 1 or 2 more stories. This one seemed interesting. Ankle monitors, the fashion statement of the future. If you are if you sent your kid to college by paying money illegally, you will probably be sporting one of these. If you are Martha Stewart a couple of years ago, you were probably sporting one of these. Turns out that, hey, even these high-tech yet very, very low sophistication devices can, I guess, go on the fritz. So check this one out. A botched update crashes hundreds of Netherlands police ankle monitors. That's right. Someone accidentally updated to the wrong update, I guess, or at least the update wasn't working well. Check it out. This is from John Finkus and Gadget, and mangled software updates are a headache for everyday users, but they create serious trouble for Dutch law enforcement in recent days. Officials have revealed that the software update created a disruption for hundreds of ankle monitors used to track bail, releases, and house arrest, leaving police without a way to locate suspects and criminals. The issue was fixed hours after it began on May 9th, but it lasted long enough that the officers had to check in with wearers and even preemptively arrest some of those who they were preemptively arrest some of them to make sure that they stayed put. Saying that this isn't the first time the Netherlands had to deal with an outage. This one was under police control. A cellular network outage in 2018 knocked out connection to 450 ankle monitors, forcing a similar scramble. Luckily, when it comes to the Netherlands, it may just be stereotypes. It may just be my complete American misunderstanding of the Dutch legal system and people under house arrest. But I feel like it's going to be really hard to cause chaos in the Dutch society. So luckily, I doubt there was really much risk here. The wearables are frequently helpful for police to give them way to keep tabs on suspects without having to jail or, of course, other police officers nearby. This failure underscores a central problem, though. The monitors are highly dependent on reliable connectivity and software, and even a temporary glitch can put public safety at risk. Very true. Luckily, I don't think that they put too many high-risk individuals on house arrest. I believe these are only for people who are, serving any kind of minor offense. Obviously, again, I'm just generalizing here, but this is the future of our connected society where we highly depend on the constant flow of data, and be that for GPS, for ankle monitors, for cell phones, for any kind of information, maybe even listening to a continuous feed of the Computer America show. Hint, hint. You need that constant flow of data, and that is becoming more and more important, which is why, again, we were so sad a couple of years ago, the FCC decided that the internet was not a utility. The FCC, of course, stripped of the title to designation. So hopefully we'll get that back, because at this point it really shows just how important having an internet connection for not just appliances and you yourself, your Netflix, but even very, very important things like ankle monitors and more. Everyone, interesting story. Never really hear about the Dutch legal system. So pretty cool. Okay. This one I wanted to say, not because of the content. I think the content is reprehensible. It's bad. Trust me, I know. But I did want to talk about the story because it really highlights the fact that regardless of how tightly Facebook, YouTube, any other social media site tries to control the flow of information, it's a never-ending battle. There will always be some way to get it out there. And this is just an unfortunate reality, and something that, once again, I really want to highlight, because you can't put all the blame on Facebook. You can't put all the blame on YouTube. They can try their best, and people will still find a way around it. Now, a popular YouTuber read the Christchurch Manifesto to 500,000 subscribers. Again, to 500,000 people. YouTube left the video online for over 2 days, allowing it to generate tens of thousands of views and spread to other channels, unfortunately. So a popular farming, agricultural, and welding DIY YouTuber with more than 600,000 followers suddenly began posting openly white nationalist content on his channel, and said he has been trying to subtly red pill his audience over the course of months. There's a whole social side to this that Computer America has no interest in getting into, but there you go. Even something as innocuous as, trust me, when it comes to YouTube and DIY YouTube, that's one of the best parts of YouTube. If you want to know how to fix a leaky faucet, if you want to know how to, do any kind of car work, if you want to know how to become your own handyman, YouTube has the best resources anywhere in the world for learning how to do these things, because you can see not just one person teaching how to do it, but undoubtedly dozens of people teaching you how to do it. So I consider DIY YouTube to be as innocuous as possible, but there you go. The YouTuber posted a video of himself reading the Shooter's Manifesto and a second video in which he describes himself as a white ethno-nationalist. The hard pivot comes after the YouTuber spent a decade posting videos about welding, troubleshooting, tractor repair, and planting oats. Little bit of deviation from his core audience. Now, as Motherboard previously, and this article, by the way, is from Motherboard, saying, as Motherboard previously reported, an internal Google email said moderating the so-called manifesto of the Christchurch would be particularly challenging, and told moderators to flag all material related to the attack as terrorist content. But YouTube left this particular video online for over 2 days, allowing it to rake in tens of thousands of views, and the company also first demonetized the video and put it behind a content warning, but did not immediately delete it. Which happens sometimes. YouTube will, kind of auto detect that. They'll demonetize it, and they'll put it behind a barrier, so that if you log in and you have to be over 17 or 13 or whatever the age restriction is, and then you can see it. But overall, a pretty weak response to what they themselves claim is terrorist-related content. So because the video and a follow-up that was removed were allowed to get so many views, the YouTuber's pivot to far-right content has become a topic of conversation among far-right YouTubers who are praising him. Motherboard is not naming the specific YouTuber who posted the video in order to avoid directing more people to the person's channel. Highly thank you, Motherboard, for doing that. Now, they said that, but YouTube originally flagged the reading video as inappropriate or offensive for some audiences, seemingly after a number of user-generated reports on the clip. So the audience, even to some small degree, flagged this. They said that, hey, this video content is not acceptable. And on Monday, days after the upload, YouTube removed the clip for violating its terms of service. The second video was uploaded shortly after the reading, and the YouTuber made his views much more explicit and defended his earlier upload. So obviously, yeah, the first one was not a mistake. Now, There you go. So after an investigation by Motherboard showed Facebook banned white supremacy, allowing white nationalists, the tech giant decided to ban support of the latter. Although this particular video of the manifesto did not violate YouTube's policies, the company previously refused to commit to banning white nationalists in general. Google did not respond. Google did not respond for comment. Yeah, it's not so much what happened. It's just that I wanted to highlight that you would expect this from a random channel that just started and, maybe sprung up out of the blue and tried to get on people's radar. But when it's someone who is trusted, who has 10 years of videos, who has not been content flagged before, suddenly post something like this, and then on top of that, it's not in a form that you can easily detect with automation. Even with the audience reporting it, saying, hey, this is a problem, even with everyone saying, hey, check this out, it's still not the easiest thing to detect. And I'm sure that there's still more that even YouTube and Google can't control. There's no silver bullet, and unfortunately, they need to keep working on it. So there you go. Everyone, sorry to end on such a low note. If you want to check out this story and more, check out computeramerica.com. And in the meantime, hopefully you had fun. Tomorrow on the program, we might do something different. I have a couple ideas knocking around in my head. You definitely want to check it out. Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. Everyone, Computer America will be back tomorrow. Catch you then. Bye-bye.